Today, our guest is Peter Swatosch. He is the executive business coach of a Focal Point International Sydney. Peter works with the business owners that want to achieve outstanding results, having successfully operated his own independent prestige car repairs and sales facility for over 25 years. Peter understands the challenges facing business today. As certified Focal Point business coach, Peter combines his hands-on experience with his mentoring skills to ensure that you reach high level of achievement, dedicated to providing excellent value to his client. He is passionate about business, coaching, and will work with you to set priorities, define clear goals, and implement the system to attain them. Based in Sydney, Peter enjoys travel, golf, coaching, soccer, and fishing. So today, please welcome Peter Swatosch, a business coach and a mentor. Welcome to our Exonte TV. Thank you for joining in today and accepting my request.
Well, thanks for having me on today, Priya. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So it's our pleasure. We have been discussing a lot recently, and I really like your initiative and the work you are doing in the coaching space. So what do you wouldn't like to say something about yourself? You want to introduce yourself in that?
Yeah. Thank you. My name is Peter Swatosch from Focal Point Business Coaching and Training. I'm in the southern suburbs of Sydney, Australia, and my ideal client ranges from companies with $1 million up turnover, with teams that really just want a little bit of a kick along, help with their culture, goals, vision, and things like that. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Interesting. So in this, the foundation of your future success is built on what is being today. That is one of your sharp insight on business success. Can you tell us a little bit more on those building blocks for future success?
All right, that's an interesting question. I sure can. Now, working with my clients, we probably work on 6 different building blocks, and probably the first one is to have a vision. So successful business owners not only have a compelling vision for their company, but they're able to communicate this vision to their people around them. And then everyone is in the company seeing that the same clear image of where the business is going and how it's going to get there. So, it sounds easy, but it's actually not that easy. And it's amazing how many people that have the vision in their head but don't communicate it so well to their team. Now, the second pillar or building block that I like to talk about is people. So successful leaders surround themselves with just great people. They have core values, have been identified, and they're clear, and everyone's aligned with those values. The third thing is data. And by this, I mean a handful of metrics that the leaders can use to help manage the daily business, the day-to-day. By that, I mean things like KPIs, where they can measure things and see things that are maybe happening before the end of the month, where once you've got a bad month of the bad report, it's too late. So if you can instill KPIs to see when things are going wrong before they happen, is a great initiative. So The fourth thing would be obstacles. So being able to identify those obstacles that must be faced for you to execute your vision. The fifth building block, I would say, is process. So process is your documented way of you doing business. So successful companies see their way clearly, and they even probably constantly refine that process as things change, as we've seen in the last 6 months. And probably the sixth one there is execution. So successful leaders know how to bring focus, accountability, and discipline to their company and their team.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, as we know, most of the people actually have a lot vision, but they don't never implement it. It's more of a action taker requirement, which is very interesting to see how you process entire, and actually you break them out to understand it easy, That's interesting to see. Execution is most important. So
yes.
having said that, you have written and commented extensively on teamwork as a factor in business success. The fact remains that members of team come from different background in family, educations, upbringing, and perhaps in age and gender as well. What's in your opinion should be the common denominator in building a cohesive team that will work with a single focus?
Well, that's a great question, and I'll probably go back to where I started in the building blocks is with to have everybody aligned with the vision of the business.
Yeah.
Now, this is done through obviously being able to articulate that vision, having it written down, actually knowing what it is, or your strategic values, your personal values that have been identified. They're clear with everybody in the business, and everybody in the team is aligned with those values. As far as having different people, a team needs all different types of people. A team with like one type of behavioural style is probably not going to work as well with as one that has a whole lot of different behavioural styles. And that brings me on to another tool that I use a lot is DISC and motivators assessment. And this is a great way of helping leaders not only understand themselves and what motivates them and their behaviour profile, but it works really well in a team situation. So then we do workshops where we get teams to do their DISC profile, and then we'll have a DISC workshop around that. So everybody understands that not everybody is the same. Not everybody behaves the way that you do.
Yeah.
And I find that is a really great way of creating interaction, focus, and everyone working as a team in the same direction.
Sure. I mean, that, that also intrigues me. Like when I do my content strategy, I always go through the DISC profiling as well. As part of my content strategy, I say, like when you're creating a customer persona, you need to think about DISC profiling as well. It will help you a lot to target your message to the right audience, the type of people you are holding on to. So I'm pretty sure this is like very interesting. So you're saying in your business coaching also, you actually educate people in how the type of personality they are going to deal with it. I mean, I'm understanding it's a big gap in the market when people comes to the business ownership.
Yeah. It's one of the first things I do with any of my clients, and I find that really a really powerful way to start. And it just gets them on the coaching journey, and it just works.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So in this customer care, it's like a buzzword today, especially in a retail business. However, today e-commerce has changed as a great success story where sellers and buyers do not directly interact for most customers. For most customers, Amazon is a faceless organization whose success comes from an efficient system and not any personalized customer care. How do you react to this observation?
That's a very interesting statement. I think the fact that you're not doing something face-to-face with somebody doesn't take away from the fact that there is some level of customer care. And you'll probably find that you'll find a lot of online companies will do this differently than others. So, for example, how easy is it to buy a product from a certain company? How well do they take you through the buying process? So if it's an online, say, for example, I just bought some golf balls recently online. There was a great tool there for helping me to work out exactly what sort of golf ball I should be using. Now, I've been buying golf balls for 30 years and nobody's ever, even the face-to-face, nobody's ever done that with me. So I thought that was a really great way of creating some sort of customer care. The other thing is with customer care, and probably the most important thing, is what happens when something goes wrong.
Yeah.
How does a company deal with that? So online companies have a great opportunity. I know that sometimes they might be taken advantage of in this, but if you get a product that's broken or it's not correct, how they deal with that going forward.
Yeah, for sure. So true. So going forward, like people should more be reactive to that whole e-commerce situation, isn't it? So and I'm noticing it's like not every e-commerce is successful for sure, but it's a growing industry, and I mean it has been growing for a while now. But it's much more bigger than what we were thinking, and also it's opening up a lot of opportunity for the people who want to be participant into the market without having a huge infrastructure cost, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think it's a very
Yes.
interesting
Yeah, it's definitely
yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is, and as with any business, it really comes back down to what we spoke about earlier: is the vision and goals and what they actually really want to achieve.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So in that sense, like, do you think like when I remember when I was young, I used to go to the shop with my parents, and the shopkeepers or salespeople were actually giving you to something to hold on, and, finding things, especially in the clothing industry. My mom used to react to the touch of the clothes, and
Yes. Yep.
and now it's like, do you think it's actually, do you think how we can balance the EQ side of it, having said that, because there is nothing to hold on to and express our feeling on that?
Yeah, look, I suppose that sort of, I don't know, gratification, I suppose, is delayed to the time when that parcel actually shows up, and that's when you get to hold what you've got. And sometimes it might not be the right size. You need to send it back, and it's the companies that address that to make it easy for you to do. I know one company my daughter buys clothes from. They actually send a return shipping label with the clothes.
Yeah.
So if it's the wrong size, she can just send it straight back. They've made it easy for her. So what happens is now she just buys more things from them.
Yeah, and I think like if return back guarantee is there, like there will be no problem in returning back. I think more buyers are getting attracted towards that because they don't have to travel. They don't. Considering today's market, I think e-commerce is the best thing.
Yes, exactly. And through COVID, obviously, that's been a big boom for a lot of online retail.
Yeah, for sure. So in that case, business schools and management education have elite status and brand value today. However, world's greatest business stories have been scripted by dropouts like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. Have business school been overrated, when it comes to the business owners?
Wow, what a question. And you've picked a couple of pretty successful dropouts there. I would say that they wouldn't be overrated. And I would say that both Bill Gates and Steve Jobs would have employed a lot of people who have completed those business schools, management education, to help them create that vision. They were the visionaries of what they wanted to create. And they got the team of people. And I think I even remember Bill Gates talking about he didn't want to be the smartest person in the room. He would always try and employ people that were smarter than him to help create his vision. So look, I think they have a place in the world. They're definitely not overrated. I subscribe to the theory of Kaizen, which is never learning and because things all the time to improve and become better at what we do.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, obviously, there is people that do the business. They are like more business owner and a visionary people, and they need action takers. And I think that's where these people you are suggesting that these are the action takers and who act on their vision. Yeah. Interesting.
That's right. And you'll find too, a lot of people, entrepreneurs, such as Steve Jobs, they are great visionaries, but maybe not so actually great with people themselves. And they need other people to help them along that way. And they just created a great team and made it work from that vision.
Yeah. My papa used to say that, you cannot win a war without the army, right? So a general and the top-notch position cannot go in the field all by themselves without having people behind them. So, it's the power of team.
Yes, I agree with that totally. Yes.
So as a coach and as a mentor, what is your opinion defines corporate leadership? Behavioral qualities or acquired knowledge?
that's an interesting one. I suppose corporate leaders are probably not defined by the size of their company. They can be a part of a small company or a large organisation, publicly traded company. They can be identified as one as a founder of a company. But what I found is that based on Daniel Goleman's emotional intelligence theory. I don't know if you've heard of that. I use EQ a lot. We use EQ assessments through our things. And I really subscribe to the theory that leaders are made, not born. Now, there may be a few natural born leaders in the world, but they're probably so few and far between that they don't really have any stake in the theme of things there. But definitely leaders are born. If I think about my journey that I went through in my previous business on how I had to step up at 26 years of age and become a leader of the family business when my father decided to move away. And, I definitely wasn't born a leader, and it took me a long time, a lot of learning experience, to gain the experience over years to become a great leader. So I think behavioural qualities, depending on your DISC profile, has a lot to do with it, yes. But acquired knowledge is certainly something along the way that will help leaders to become better leaders along the way.
Yeah, for sure. And I think when I hear your story, I feel like, when you learn a lot with your father while working with your father, and it was more by example, by the experience. So it's quite real-time learning also you have done while you are actually acquiring the bookish and, training knowledge.
Yes, that's right. But see, what happened to me at the time was that I was actually working in the business when my father was running it, and there was probably not much transition between the two. So I was sort of thrown into the fire really quickly, and that was sort of, so maybe I have to accelerate my learning curve. But the dealing with people, having to give feedback, hiring and firing, and creating that vision for everybody to follow, to aim for, to have, understand the values of the business, of what we were trying to do and create. That was something that did take me a while to get a grip of.
Yeah. Interesting. So, as always, I really enjoy talking to you. It was very interesting time with you. And I always admire your journey, and what you have achieved and how you actually lead your team so far. And business, you have taken over to the next level, what your father vision was and the way he started. So you kind of are living a legacy. I'm a big fan of living a legacy. One of my brothers says that, if 3 generations stays in the business is it will much thrive better than what you can even imagine on it,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's a journey and a legacy you are living in. Thank you so much for joining this. I really enjoyed talking again. All your learnings, and looking forward to meet you again. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for having me on today, Priya.
Yeah. But before we go, I would like to ask you, if people want to find you, how can they find you? Where can they reach to you?
They can find me at my email address, which is pswatosch@focalpointcoaching.com. My contact phone number is 0419 493 631. And if I don't take the call, just leave a message.
Thank you. And all the details will be given below the comment, so people can find your details in the description, and your website address will be also provided, so audience can reach you out through that. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Priya.
Thank you. Bye.